A good day from the Varsity Aces. I'm Greg Tartaglia for NorthJersey.com. Welcome to Super Football Conference Media Day Live, and this is Varsity Aces Live for Wednesday, August 25th, 2021. It's the Greg and Greg Show. We'll be joined by Greg Matura today, fellow worker for the record. And our first guest on this Super Football Conference Media Day are the Depaul Spartans. We have head coach Nick Campanile. Campanile? You know what? It's live TV, so we'll just have. This is how it's going to be. We'll just have conversations about football pronunciations, whatever you like. First of all, welcome.
That's good. Thank you. I appreciate you guys having us.
First of all, we need to meet your players here. Could you please introduce us to who's with you?
Sure. I have with me three of my captains. This here's Corey Lyde. He's a wide receiver, defensive back, committed to Wisconsin. This is Edward Conneran, a free safety and wide receiver, committed to Central Michigan. And this behind me, the big guy is Quire Price, a defensive end that's committed to Syracuse.
All right, so you've got three Division I commitments here. I would have to think that the outlook for Depaul this year is pretty good. So let's get right into it. What are you expecting? It's your first year at Depaul.
Yes.
So first year as a head coach, right? So what's the transition been like for you, and how much are you looking forward to having all these great players go after it?
It's been a really smooth transition. I'm taking over for a close friend of mine, John McKenna. So it's been a really smooth transition, and I'm very blessed. I have a very strong senior class this year, led by these three behind me.
All right, now, is there a spokesperson for the group? Does anyone want to speak up and say, Corey? Oh, Eddie. Okay, we'll start with you. What's preseason been like, and how confident are you heading into that first game? It's a big one. You're playing in the Rumble on the Raritan against Cardinal Hayes.
Yeah, the preseason's been really good. We've been able to stack up multiple really good practices. Coach Camp's done a really good job changing the culture around the program and keeping Spartans tough. So I think it's going to be a really good year.
I know I don't want to leave out my colleague here. I know you and I both actually watched Nick play in high school, did we not? I remember covering a Fairlawn game in 2001. You're from Fairlawn.
Absolutely.
So.
I've covered most of the coaches now. I've been around that long, sorry to say, but the job keeps me young. Let's start right in with any of the players who would like to answer this. I believe you have three-year starters here on the roster. Can you talk about being a three-year starter and how it feels coming back for a senior year following a junior year in which there were no playoffs and the regular season was shortened? Who wants to take a swing at that?
It was a pretty hard transition from freshman football to varsity football, able to start as a sophomore, but we had to mature faster. And coming into our senior year, I feel as though it's going to be a great year. That's pretty much. We're going to have a great season this year.
Quayer, let me ask you. You guys only got to play 6 games last year, 3-3 as I recall. How different does it feel this year being able to have a regular off season and knowing that you're going to have a regular slate of regular season games plus a postseason schedule? Can you talk about that?
It feels great. It feels great to be back playing normal. I mean, just a longer season to play with the seniors. Last year, why not go out with a good end of year good?
Don't let me cut you off like that. If you got something to say, it's quite all right to say it. And I actually had a question for Nick because we were mentioning you playing at Fairlawn. Your senior year, you graduated in 2000, so your senior year was 2001, and that's the 20-year anniversary coming up. My first year of covering high school football was 2001. What do you remember from that season? And I guess what is Depaul doing maybe to take a moment and honor what happened that day?
Yeah, that was actually my senior year. I remember the planes hitting on a Tuesday morning and practice being canceled that day. I remember I had quite a few classmates who had parents in the towers at that time, and one that I can remember that lost his father that day. So it was a really tough time. And us at Depaul, we're going to do a good job of commemorating it. We don't have a home game that weekend. We're actually at St. Joe's September 11th. So I'm sure they'll do a great job of commemorating the day. We'll do something the following week as well.
I think I covered Fairlawn and Highlands after. Yeah, it was a week before. Okay. So, that's good stuff.
My last question, you are ranked number 7 in our USA Today network, New Jersey top 25. That's our job to rank you. It's your job to coach and maybe not get the people to think too much about where they're ranked. But your thoughts on being considered one of the top programs, one of the top teams in the state this year moving forward?
Well, obviously that's an honor. We're very honored to be thought of that highly. But we're not going to get too caught up in that. We're just going to practice each day as best we can and line up on Friday night and play as hard as we can. You guys will take care of all that. I'm sure you do a great job of that. So we'll be ready.
We appreciate that. And we appreciate you taking the time to be with us. Depaul Spartans, good luck to all of you this year. We are going to take a look at what's going on over on the stage because, again, we are here at Super Football Conference Media Day. So we'll have a chance to talk to a few different teams. Thanks a lot, fellas.
Maybe watching, that's really it.
Thank you. Now looking at the State County Tech, the Bulldogs, and Coach Matt Demarest. You played in the North 1 Group 5 sectional final just a couple of seasons ago in 2019. How do you find a way to get that young side from last year back in the upper echelon of the teams and possibly contend for a state title down the line here at MetLife?
We'll switch. Thank you. I believe that the players, they like the competition. We have a very competitive schedule with this group up here, obviously, and a couple other teams. And the competition brings out the best in the guys. The guys push hard. They know that it's going to be difficult. There's bumps in the road. We don't run away from losses. We try to embrace them and get better. And that's been, I think, the secret for success the last couple of years. I think that we have the older guys want to add their names to certain lists being remembered. And I think that's been a big factor.
Camera, Greg Tartaglia, Greg Matura, joined by another member of the Super Football Conference United Division. There's the United White and United Red, but you're all the best schools we have in North Jersey, and that's why we have our new Big Six rankings this year. St. Peter's is going to be involved in there too. But this is St. Joe's. Coach Danny Morangi, nice to meet you. Could you please introduce us to the players you have with us today?
We have Jalen Wade right here, Peter Shue, and Jack Schmahowski.
Pleasure to meet you, gentlemen. Your second season at St. Joe's. How is, well, I guess I should say, what are you looking forward to? Because the first season you had the COVID football. Now it seems as if everybody's kind of holding their breath. Okay, we think we'll be able to get back to normal football this year. What are you anticipating for your second season with the Green Knights?
I anticipate great things. I believe we're up to the challenge. We got a tough schedule, and I'm excited for the future of our program.
How much easier has it been, if the word is easier, in your second season than going through it the first time last year?
It's never easy.
That's the real answer. It's never easy in this league. You got great competition. We're always trying to get better each week, and we're always facing whatever challenges are put in front of us. And it's just exciting to be back playing football and hopefully playing a full schedule.
Now it is a media day, so you can get asked a lot of questions, and a lot of the same answers get pushed, thrown around, and everybody wants to take it one game at a time and all that. So why don't we do this? We'll just focus on your first week opponent. Tell us who you're playing. If anyone wants to step up and speak for the team, otherwise I'll just talk to whoever's right by me. Also remind us of your name. That would be helpful too. Jalen. Okay. So Jalen, first opponent. What's the preseason been like? Build up to that, and what are you looking most forward to about opening day 2021?
Our preseason's been great. It's been hot, a lot of heat waves, but it's going to prepare us for our first game because our first game's this Saturday, so it's going to be hot. But we're playing good Council from Maryland. They're a pretty good powerhouse team from the DMV, so we're excited to get out there. I think we're getting prepared mentally, physically. Every day in practice, we come out full speed, try to compete, try to get better. So it's going to prepare us.
So now, what positions all you fellas play?
I play DB.
Starting safety.
Okay.
I'm the linebacker and punter.
And punter. Listen, punting gets overlooked. So is that something that, we have actually a great kicking coach in this area. I think Pat Sempier, but he's a place kicking coach. Is he still around?
Yes,
coach
he
Sempier?
is.
It's good to hear because there have been a lot of good kickers come through this area.
I got to say, that is one of the things that's been nice as I watched the game progress in my last 30-plus years. Early on in my career, when I would cover a game, when someone had to punt, I would just cross my fingers that the ball wasn't snapped over the punter's head. So I am very excited in the last 10 or 15 years about how much more emphasis has been put on special teams, because it can really make a difference. That extra point or that block punt or even a short snap and going for it on 4th and short off of a fake punt is key. Gentlemen, I do want to ask you, you finished strong last year. I believe you won your last 5 games, and yet there were no playoffs. What kind of a mindset do you have coming into this year where you do have a full schedule starting with an out-of-state opponent from Maryland or Lady of Good Counsel? What's your mindset coming back into this season off of last year's shortened pandemic year?
We're just taking it game by game, preparing each week, trying to get the best result out of each week. And, we're really just taking it day by day, scouting the team we're playing and, just working hard, getting through it and, becoming a team and making it happen for ourselves.
Now, see, that's why I asked him about the very first game, because you don't want to look beyond that. Coach Morangi, what are you looking forward to? First game right out of the gate. And people talk about statements. You want to make a statement. You're ranked number 2. Are they 2 or 3 in our Big 6 poll?
I know they're number 9 in the state.
9 in the state. We'll go with 9 in the state.
I like talking about number 9 in the USA Today Network, New Jersey, top 25. Yeah.
Number 9 in the state. Is there added excitement? Is there added pressure? What are your thoughts going in opening day?
No, I don't think there's any pressure. I think it's, we want to get off to a good start, obviously. But at the end of the day, just like last year and building upon our start and winning the last 5, I think the kids saw that when they trust the process and trust the system, we're going to get to where we want to be at the end. So, at the first game, we want to come out strong and show what we can do, and we want to build off that. That's the most important thing.
Now, we just talked to Coach Nick Campanile and Depaul. I believe they said they're going to be playing you the weekend that everyone's doing the September 11th, remembrances. And they said St. Joe's is home. So what is planned for that weekend? And, what have you told your players about what went on? None of the players were around then.
It's crazy to think that none of these guys were born around at that time. But we have some things planned, pre-game ceremonies and stuff for these guys. Some of the stuff kind of a surprise for these guys. But, we'll talk about it, obviously, with the week leading up to it and, with everything going on. But we got a tremendous ceremony. Our alumni department's working on it, and, it's going to be a great day.
Seems like so much happening this year. Number one, kind of want to get into back to normal, but that 20th anniversary of 9/11, as we get closer, certainly is going to, I think, be a topic of conversation.
It's definitely a big deal. Again, we lived through it. The coaches lived through it. The kids not so much. Maybe they only heard stories about it, but it is meaningful. It does mean a lot. So it's going to be a pivotal weekend, and we'll see a lot of remembrances that week.
Now, we know you have to get up to the stage because they're having panel type discussions and asking you questions, but we can ask you the one-on-one questions right here. So I know everybody talks about one game at a time, but let's have some fun. I'll just put you on the spot. What do you think St. Joe's record is going to be this year?
To be honest, I feel like we're going to go 12-0.
Undefeated.
Okay, so it's unanimous across the board. They have that kind of confidence. What would the coach's answer be?
Coach's answer, 1 game at a time, 1-0 each week.
Well, there you go. If you can go 1-0 opening day against Good Counsel, you'll be in good shape. So, any more thoughts?
That's it. And we want to thank St. Joseph's, Coach Dan Morangi, and the Spartans for being here. We're going to go back to the dais right now, see what's going on over there. And when we come back, we'll have a fresh set of guests. Thanks very much.
We know we're already ahead of where we were last year.
Yeah, I would say just to piggyback off what Coach Demarest said, it's about being at the stadium, not for just 90 minutes where you have to get everything in. It's being in the weight room, it's the grind, it's the heat, it's all of that, and that's what encompasses this great sport. Where else do you get? You're really entitled to what? 480 minutes, right? So you train 11 months out of the year for 480 minutes. It takes a special kind of person to do so, right? So at the end of the day, it's what you're doing when you're there. So if you're there every day to get better, it makes that 480-minute ride worth it. Other than that, like you said, Coach, this is the greatest game in the world, and it chose us. We didn't choose it. It chose us, and I don't regret one day of it. So,
I think it's all about just understanding, your level of preparation it takes to be successful. I mean, last year with 2020, it seems hopefully we're not going backwards, but it's all about just your ability to improvise, overcome, and adapt. And that's any situation in life. You're always going to have adversity in life, right? And the one thing that's great about this sport, as coaches have touched upon, it's what you're actually teaches you afterwards. So if there's one thing 2020 has taught us as coaches and players is that you just got to keep moving forward, right? You don't know what the next game is going to bring. You don't know what the next week's going to bring. Just like in football, you don't know what that next play is going to bring from your opponent. And this year we kind of just are back to our hopefully
over when we go to the stage, but we're going to bring it back to our little corner of MetLife Stadium here. Greg Tartaglia and Greg Matura once again. Now we're joined by the Ramapo Raiders. We just talked to the Green Knights, but let's remember, they're the Raiders. We've been calling them the Green Raiders for years, but the official nickname is Raiders. Coach Drew Gibbs, nice to have you. Can you please introduce us to the players you have with you today?
Absolutely. I have our two captains, number 11, Jack Remo. Jack's a strong safety in our program. And number 23, Dylan Snee, who's an inside linebacker and also a captain.
Welcome to both of you. The Remo name is familiar. You have any relatives in Mawa by chance?
I do, yeah. My dad's side of the family lives in Mawa. Yep.
Because Coach Remo, obviously, he retired a few years ago from football, still doing baseball. And you've been at this, I think, with Ramapo. 2000 was your first year, if I'm correct.
2001.
So yeah, your first year was the year that we're all talking about. We'll get to that in a minute. As far as this year goes, it's been 20 years on the job for you, and you've built one of the most consistent programs I think I've seen every year. I've been writing the state of the program story, and one of the things they ask us to ask you about is expectations. But you always tell me the expectations at Ramapo never change. So, they might be a little bit different based on, new individual players coming in this year. Have you made any tweaks to the expectations other than you want to win all the games and be playing in December?
Well, we are bumping up to Group 4 this year, it looks like. So instead of being Group 3 champs, the goal is to be the Group 4 champions. And, we talked about that legacy in our program to our players just the other day. And I think a big part of it is the commitment and dedication they have. From year to year, that doesn't change. Our players understand the commitment. They've been shown the way, and they put everything they have into the program. So when you have kids that are willing to do that, then you have a shot every year.
And I know that a lot of seniors graduated, so maybe it alters the expectations slightly because maybe not as many starters are coming back. But what did you guys maybe learn from the graduating senior class? Ramapo is one of those, quote, reloading teams. You don't rebuild, you move up the next bunch of guys, and you got a great feeder program. What did you learn from the guys that have graduated, and how ready are you to step into those roles of you being the leaders on this team?
I mean, we always have the next up mentality in this team. So if someone gets hurt, we always have the next guy up ready to play next game. So we always learn from the seniors and the older guys in the past to always be ready and always have the best chance to win.
Yeah, I always picked up on their resilience too, especially with the COVID year they had. Can't imagine losing my senior year to COVID. So they had to go through that. I lost my junior year, but I have one more. They were pretty resilient. Came out every day, worked just as hard every day. Like every day that was your last. I like to keep that mentality. Work hard every day, just like every day could be your last day. Because just like last year, we were one day away from playing another game. It was all over. So just kind of work hard.
And we do want to talk, or I'd like to reference last year. Drew, talk about the difference between last year going through a pandemic-shortened season and then being back this year where things are a little bit more back to normal, at least to this point. Also want to get the players' thoughts on that. Drew, could you offer up some thoughts?
I think for me, the most the thing I thought we lost the most was just time together and that time in the locker room and, having to be separate at times by grade. And I think that's been a big part of our success is how not only the seniors are role models for the younger players, but how they really have always embraced the younger players and brought them into the fold. And, the old days of hazing young players and those kinds of things, that's long behind us. And I think the fact that our seniors have always done such a great job of bringing everybody into the fold is a big part of our success. And we lost a little of that last year. So for these guys, I'm happy they get to spend more time together, more time in the locker room, hopefully have a better bonding experience now that we're hopefully through this COVID situation.
And yeah, I mean, the whole resilience theme kind of it's playing out, played out 20 years ago with 9/11, and that was your first year of coaching. What are your memories of that season, and what sort of lessons have you taken away from that season that maybe you can pass on to players, even though we're now 20 years out?
Certainly a terrible tragedy. I believe it was the Tuesday before my first game as the head coach at Ramapo, and just a tremendous shock. And I think we were all devastated and hurt by it. But life also goes on, and I think it was we chose to play the game that week, and I think it was a good return to normalcy for our players. And they got a chance to focus on the task ahead. And as much as we will never forget what happened, we also have to move forward in a positive way. And I think that's in football, you're going to lose a game, and when you lose a game, you can't dwell on it. You take the lessons learned and you move forward and do the very best you can next week. So that idea of playing the next play. That's what we tell our players. We're going to make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes. Learn from it, but move on. Don't hold on to it.
Is there anything unique about this team's personality compared to the other 20 teams that you've coached here at Ramapo? What's unique about them? You did graduate a lot of key seniors last year.
We did. I think this team is working on finding its identity. I think that is something that develops as the season goes on. They've seen what it takes to be successful. They're doing their very best to get there right now. I think we're building our identity, and that happens week by week during the season. But I'm excited. Our guys are showing up with great work ethic, great commitment. We're getting better every day on the practice field. We believe strongly that's where championships are won, and these guys are going all out each every day. So couldn't be happier, and I'm interested to see how how this group develops.
We have one more for the Ramapo Raiders here at SFC Media Day, one for the players. What do you think the biggest challenges will be for Ramapo this year? Obviously, your approach and your consistency always stays the same, but you must encounter new challenges. So what do you what are they? What do you foresee them being this year?
I think preparation. You always have to prepare, and that's what lets you get the most wins. So preparing is usually the biggest thing. If you're not prepared, you're not going to win a game. So I would say preparation.
Biggest challenges?
Yeah, just staying focused, preparing like we do every week. We saw seniors and everyone who graduated before us do it and be successful. So we're going to try to keep that going, do what they did every week, and win one game at a time.
Coach, did they give the right answers?
Oh, they absolutely did. I think as coaches, we have to adjust our expectations just a little bit as to where we are from a football standpoint. As we played 5 games last year. These guys lost 8 weeks of a normal season. So, as much as they're giving a great effort, they've lost some experience. So, adjusting how we do things in training camp and getting ourselves ready. And again, I'm so excited with their work ethic and their commitment. So the sky's the limit for this group, and we're just going to keep at it every day.
We're excited to see the new 2021 football season, but we have to let Ramapo get back to 2021 Super Football Conference Media Day. Thanks to Coach Drew Gibbs for joining us, and to your players as well. We're going to take a look back at the stage and see what's going on now with the players being interviewed. We will have another interview coming up for you shortly. Coach, thanks again.
You're welcome.
Trust me and laid the foundation, going forward, and we're going to follow that same path this year. We want to be playing strong by the end of the year, and that's when the championships are won.
Jack, you continue the long line of tradition at St. Joe's as one of the leaders now of this year's side for the Green Knights. What do you have to do as a leader on and off the field to make sure that your guys are playing here at MetLife Stadium in late November?
Really just lead by example. My team has made it incredibly easy since they're so determined to do what they have to in order to get the victory at the end of the day.
Thank you. Now looking at Bergen Catholic and the Crusaders led by Vito Campanelli. Vito, already your 4th season, and you're the old coach now in the division, as you're the longest tenured coach with all the changes that have been happening. So for Vito, what have you seen from your team from last year when you went 5-1? Obviously you had to deal with COVID just like everyone else on and off the field, but now getting a chance at this new fresh start, and you guys are going to be thrown right into the fire right away, playing in Ohio in a couple days. What does this season look like for you in 2021?
At first, I think last year was far from a normal year, and there was a lot of sacrifice from every kid that played high school football. And not just on the football field, just the day-to-day and keeping yourself distant and making sure that you had the opportunity to play. And then moving into this year, thing that's exciting for us is, we do have 18 starters back when you look at both sides of the ball, and really has a great veteran presence to the team. And I think it's really a great leadership that's been constructed amongst these guys, and they really take the right approach to practice.
So you got to look at what's going on with the stage and all the teams answering the questions. Now we have a little one-on-one time with one of the teams that was just up there. Clifton, Coach Ralph St-Hugh, welcome to Varsity Aces Live. Nice to have you. And your players, will you please introduce them for us?
I have 3 of my 5 captains today. I have a 2-time captain, Nick Burgess, 2-time captain, Kyle Vellis, and Big Tyler Williams.
So Nick, Tyler, and Kyle. Nice to have you all here. Clifton's one of those teams that they've been moving up the polls the last few years, right?
They have. The program has been elevated under Ralph. Good for you. I'd also like to mention that I feel like I've covered the entire Vellis family over my 30-plus year career. But I do want to start right in with a quick question. That was, you started off 4-0 last year. You had to change your schedule. It almost seemed like on a day-to-day basis last season. Could you talk about the importance of having stability this year, being able to have a set schedule, we hope, and then a postseason to look forward to?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's everything. You get to, you have an idea of who your opponent's going to be, the proper game planning, the proper film and breakdown, the proper adjustments that we need to make week to week. With the state of normalcy that we're in right now, it's looking good. Our goal is to get to the playoffs. And at the end of the day, our goal is to be here, and, hopefully the end of November or December. I mean, that's why we do what we do.
I think that may also be why they have Super Football Conference media here. It's been all over the past few years. Obviously, last year was all online, but, is it neat, kind of almost like seeing them, dangle a carrot's the only, metaphor I can think of, but seeing it out there, the field where you could possibly play at this point of the season, is that maybe get you revved up a little bit and think, hey, it would be nice to be back here, Nick?
Yeah, it definitely does. Just seeing the field, it's like we could be here, and it just makes us want to work harder to achieve that,
Now, you mentioned the Bellis family, so I have to ask Kyle, because this is your 3rd year starting as quarterback, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
There's a Coach Vellis in Wallington. Are you related at all?
Yeah, he's my first cousin.
Okay, so and I remember he was a quarterback on a sectional championship winning team at Wallington. Is quarterbacking something that runs in the family? And what has it been like playing that position for you growing up, not only your family, but growing up at Clifton?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely carried in my family. My dad and all his brothers, they were all quarterbacks, as long as with my cousin. And I'm just trying to do what he did and win the sectional championship for Clifton.
I got one for Kyle, too, because Clifton's one of those towns where the kind of toughness is what they preach. And, you've got a few linemen coming back this year. Clifton, in the past few years, you've been able to have some, I guess less turnover, but when the seniors graduate, the next class is able to step up. How is the line getting ready to step up and I guess, for lack of a better term, impose your will on opponents this year?
The line stepping up. We practice. We hold a high standard of practice, and we're disciplined up front. I think no problems at all this year. Everyone knows their keys, their plays, and I think we're going to be very dominant up front this year.
I actually like interviewing guys when I'm standing up because I'm pretty tall too. But now I'm feeling a little bit intimidated. No,
you can't be intimidated. You got to walk around like you're the biggest guy in the building. That's what I've learned. Question to each of you, and that is, last year, again, from one day to the next, you were playing one team. 48 hours later, you're scheduled to play another team. What did you learn from that experience from last year? From not being able to have a full week to prepare for someone, lessons learned. Who wants to feel that way?
I'll go. We just took it day by day. If we knew what team we had, we just prepared for them in the amount of time we had. We weren't scared because we had less time. We took the time we had and we made the best of it. That's about it.
Now, we've been doing a lot with football over the summer. We figured out our all-time winningest list, and Clifton's one of those programs on there. We've had a story recently on coaches being at their alma mater, and I talked to some coaches. I didn't have a chance to talk to you for the story, but obviously I found out afterward that you played at Clifton. What are your memories from your playing days, and how much can you bring to these guys?
Well, first of all, we didn't play on Friday nights. We played on Saturday afternoon, so that's something different. But there's just a rich tradition of winning at Clifton. Maybe not in the 90s, early 2000s, although we do have a state championship in 2006. But, majority of my coaching staff, played at Clifton. So it's just something that they could give back to them. It's a little piece of us. And we do preach Clifton tough, and you have to be Clifton tough in order to play on our team. And I do think that's what does get us through a lot of the adversity that we do face. If you know anything about Clifton, it is a very blue collar type town, and it's a lunch pail and it's a hard hat and it's roll your sleeves up and go to work, and that's what we do.
I think it was one of the most fun stories I wrote this summer. And, there's a lot more football yet to be written, is there not?
There is, and I'm stoked looking at your list of kids coaching. And everybody's a kid, by the way, including people your age, so I can stay a kid. But I did cover him in high school. I did cover a lot of the coaches that we're going to bring up here. I get a kick out of that. It is a pleasure. But to get back to this year, because it's all about this year, what is a reasonable expectation? You've thrown for over 2,200 yards in your career at Clifton. I don't know where you rank on the Velas family list. That's probably a good number at Clifton High School. What kind of expectations, what has to go right on the field for you guys to get to the playoffs and make a run in the playoffs?
I think everybody has to do their job, from offensive, defensive, special teams. Everybody has to do their 1/11th. Nobody can want to make every single play. Just do their job, and everybody all together, we will make the plays and get to where we want to be.
And we will see how far you go, documenting it all at NorthJersey.com. Again, this is Varsity Aces Live. Greg Tartaglia, Greg Matura bringing you through Super Football Conference Media Day. Thanks to Coach Ralph Sinque and the Clifton Mustangs. Clifton 93, is it? Yes, well, listen, thank you so much for being here, and good luck this season.
You know, the
and the players, respectfully, to answer, what is this going to mean for that opening kickoff, whether it be under the lights or in an afternoon for you guys, coming off of that season that we had a season ago? What is that going to mean for you this season? Is that going to be even extra special based on what you had to deal with on and off the field and just getting to play the sport that you love at the highest level here in New Jersey? Timmy?
Definitely a blessing, because last year we didn't get to play any out-of-state games, so this year we get to do that, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, it's really great to play some diverse competition from all around the country, and I'm really happy that we can play a full season, hopefully, and execute on and off the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think football's football. Once the ball goes in the air, I don't think we can worry about much more than what's in front of us for the next 48 minutes on the clock, and looking forward to that 2 days from today.
So we're getting a look all around Super Football Conference Media Day as we go from the stage back here to our little corner of MetLife Stadium. And we're going to talk with the number one team in the North Jersey football poll, public school football poll to open the season, Northern Highlands Highlanders. Coach Greg Russo, first, thank you for joining us. We now have Greg cubed here in the front row, Tartaglia and Matura along with you. And if you could, please introduce us to some of your players who I don't think any of them are named Greg, are they?
No one else is named Greg. We have Nick Bronca. He's a 3-year starter at running back and corner. Enzo Arjona is our 3-year starter at quarterback. Charlie Johnson is a 3-year starter at nose and offensive line.
All right, I want to start with Enzo. You've committed to Monmouth, I believe, right? So I was here a couple years ago when you played Wayne Valley for the regional final. Last year, no playoffs. What have these past few years been like for you, and how much have they kind of made you want to get back to that last game again and maybe even, finish it off here?
Yeah, for the past 3 years, it's just been a lot of maturing for me, a lot of understanding the game a lot more. And just, being part of this program, Highlands, has been very, very good for me, especially Russo pushing me every day, and helping the team, being that leader for them. And, we're hoping for this year to be at the same outcome at MetLife again. So we're pushing for that this year, and that's what we're looking at right now.
Sure. You mentioned that they're ranked number one in our North Jersey Public Top 20. They're also ranked in the USA Today network, Super 25 for the entire state of New Jersey. What kind of expectations that are put on you, how does that impact the way you come to practice every day and the way you're going to prepare for the season? Greg, we'll start with you.
Yeah, all that is it's great stuff. It's fun. I know it's fun, especially for you guys and people reading and things like that. For us, I know this isn't coach speak. I don't care about it at all because, as you said, for now, right? And you got to go play games, and you got to go play. And for them, and I think for our kids, it's not pressure because I just want them to compete. And what I'm telling them is if you play at a high level and you do things the way we tell you, we're going to beat whoever's out there. It doesn't matter. But if you play a notch or two down, you're probably going to lose. We don't have a big margin for error, so it's on us on how crisp we can execute, how crisp we can do things, and you have to practice that way every year. So that's the pressure is, can you do that every day? Can you keep doing it? It's not the rankings, it's not the games even. It's like, how good can we play? If we were on air, I could tell you if we're going to win or not.
Gentlemen, question for you, and that is, you have helped, along with your coach, elevate the program over the last couple of years. More wins, certainly, than in the previous decade. How gratifying is it to come to practice every day and strap on the helmet for a school that's now considered to be a perennial winner?
Obviously it's a great feeling. I feel like we really changed the reputation of Northern Highlands, and that's great because we're really looking forward to the season, and we're excited this year. So we're looking to get after it.
I want to ask Charlie too. What are the biggest challenges of maybe not living up to? Forget that. If you have us on the bulletin board, that's great. We love seeing the record all around wherever we go. But for your own personal goals and for what this team wants to do, what are the biggest challenges for you standing between you and? Let's just start with day one, season opener.
Biggest challenge for me is kind of like trying to rally our group of linemen. Like it's a lot of new faces for our line, defensively and offensively. I got to kind of like rally them together and get ready to go. That's the biggest challenge for me, I think.
And there are going to be a lot of them too, right? I mean, Highlands isn't one of the more competitive divisions. They everybody's in a competitive division. I think last year you had Hackensack and Altapan and everybody, right?
Last year it was Wayne Hills, Wayne Valley, Ridgewood. Who else was it? I don't know. They changed our division so many. I've been coaching 3 years at the Highlands and 2 myself. We've been in a different league every time, so I mix up the years. And this year it's another hard one, but for us it's like we always want to play the best teams. And like to me, it's like you don't want to go 7-0 and play a bunch of teams that you should have beat. Let's go play good teams and let's see who wins. And to me that's what's impressive. And I think that's what gets you recognized at some point because we didn't try to play a weak schedule. We substituted harder teams, and now people are starting to recognize it. Like we played Union last year to people that don't want to play. We're playing Somerville, no one wanted to play. Like they asked me to be in that Rumble in the Raritan, like, would you play X team? I said, who do you want to see us play? They said Somerville. I said, okay. Because win or lose, I think that's how you become a great program is push it, keep getting bigger teams, and you're all better for it, even if you don't reach it. Like you're better for doing that,
I think I thought of Altapan because that was the game I saw you on Thanksgiving last year. Weird stat. Northern Highlands is undefeated all time against Altapan on Thanksgiving, but like they had lost 10 in a row like when they didn't play on Thanksgiving. So yeah, exactly. So but you seem very fired up about how the team ended last season. Has any of that carried over, and do you still feel the same way?
For sure. I mean, I thought we were playing really good ball at the end of the year, and if there was a playoff, I would have felt really good about our chances. And I think we knew that was going to be our last game. We almost did. They were talking about maybe shutting it down that day or something, but we ended up playing, and winning that game was big for the program because that was a really hard league. Like our schedule was hard last year, so going 5-2, like when we got it, our IDs like I hope you can go have a winning record, and we won the league. So it was awesome, and I think we have a lot of guys back, and they just want to pick up where they left off, and that's kind of how we feel right now. Like let's get the playoff we didn't get last year, basically.
I guess we're it seems like we're entering the golden age of Highlands football right now.
Well, we absolutely are. I mean, over the previous decade, the Highlanders kind of finished in that 4-6, 5-5, 6-4 category, respectable, but not really, consistently finishing over 500, winning a game or more in the state playoffs. So we're now starting to get that, although we were denied that last year. You mentioned 5-2 last year. Talk about the opportunity to get back to a season. And gentlemen, if you want to think about this and answer as well, talk about getting back to a regularly scheduled season where we do have a playoff scheduled as well. God willing, we'll get there. Talk about that, please.
I'm just really proud of like all the guys I coached last year because they gave up a lot to be able to play. Like we didn't have any kids going out. We didn't have any cases on the team the whole time. And I think it's really because they went to school or didn't. They wore their masks. They did what they're supposed to do, and they stayed home. They didn't go party where you get a lot of these kids. They were committed to the program. The coaches were committed. The school backed them pretty well. So getting away what we did, as much as we didn't get to play, I was proud of like the effort there. This year it's been normal and it's been great because like I hope it all continues because like they've worked so hard all off season and we've had a lot of normal and getting back. It's been great to be like out there in meetings, be doing different things. That's one of the coaches said it before, but that's what we really missed. It's like you don't have any of that time. You got to go on the field and nothing else. So now you're getting all that back and it can be a team and it's great. And as far as putting Highland, you asked about like putting Highlands back into their golden era, I guess you'd call it. Like honestly, for me and the kids, we don't think about it. Like I know like other people in the community probably do, and someone will be like, "Hey, it's the first time Highlands had a winning record in the last 2 years," and I'm like, "No, I had no idea, but you just told me it's cool." But I don't. We just try to win every day, and however it stacks up, it stacks up.
That's our job. It's the numbers and everything. So, we'll let you know. What
I
you
had
need to know.
forgotten that. I researched that. I completely forgot. Thank you for bringing that up.
But yeah, for you guys, what are you most looking forward to getting back to, so to speak, after COVID football last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is having a postseason. It really stunk that we didn't have that last year, and now I feel like we got something to play for this year, so we're really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with Bronco. We didn't have a postseason, obviously we're working to win every single game, but, now this year we have a bigger goal, which is MetLife being here and getting that, that big championships. And that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, I'm still in agreement with both of them. The postseason really is something we've all missed here. Going 5-2, like we really wish we had it last year.
See, but that's what we want to see. We want to see them all giving the same answers because they know you're consistently on message, and that's what makes a good team. So Northern Highlands, one of the best teams in North Jersey this year. Looking forward to seeing them. Thank you, Coach Greg Russo. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. We'll be back with some more coverage and another team from Super Football Conference Media Day. For right now, we'll send it back to the stage and see who's giving a chat up there. Well, we're back here on set with Hackensack at Super Football Conference Media Day. Greg Tartaglia, Greg Matura. Thank you for joining us on Varsity Aces Live, not only to the audience, but also to the Hackensack Comments. Coach Wrestler, welcome. It's your first season, and you're back at your alma mater. What's got you fired up here at Media Day, and what are you looking forward to with the Comets this season?
Looking forward to a lot. Obviously, we've got some great guys behind me, Curtis Whiting, Shalik Hubbard, Victor May, 3 tremendous leaders for our program. And just great young men, obviously all, strong students, in the classroom. So just excited to be back in Hackensack, coaching kids like this and paving the next wave for the next generation of Hackensack athletes.
I'm glad you've been watching too in the wings because I forgot to ask you and introduce your guys. It's nice to meet you all. Curtis, what are you looking forward to this season? Everybody's been talking about, 2020 COVID football. Now, cross our fingers, we'll be back to playing full schedules and all that. What are you most looking forward to in 2021?
Personally, for me, I'm looking forward to having my brothers around me again, lifting with them, running with them, having them all around me. It just makes a difference, a huge difference. Going out to eat with them, going to houses with them, swimming with them. It just makes a difference. I love my brothers. It's a big difference, most definitely.
Yeah. And it does make a difference. I mean, in the winter last year, I talked to the triplets from Ridgefield Park, but it was girls basketball. They could spend time with each other because they were family, It's so different that you guys kind of are family. You're not same house family and related, but, are you really building a family atmosphere on this team? And how have you been able to go about that? What are the challenges you faced trying to foster that atmosphere, even though COVID's been going on?
To piggyback what Kurt said, going out to eat and stuff like that, we really missed out on that last year. We couldn't, because it was restrictions. We couldn't really be with each other and stuff like that. So now we're getting along, going out to eat and stuff like that, going to people's houses to go to swimming pool, building that team chemistry and brotherhood that we missed out on last year.
Same thing, no message?
Yeah, definitely. It's just being back together, in the weight room, lifting, practicing together again, all the time. It's creating a sense of accountability for each other and just making sure that we are, maintaining close relationship and just staying brothers and loving each other throughout the entire process, no matter how hard it might get.
We're happy we can do this on camera because last year everything had to be on camera. We couldn't have these guys with us.
This hits me personally. Curtis is one of the first people I spoke to last year during the pandemic. I went to his house to do an interview. I had the mask on. He came to shake my hand. It was embarrassing. I told him to stay back. I felt terrible about that. That was humiliating. Also, I believe, Mr. May, I interviewed your mom last year. She's one of the best interviews, by the way, of all time. Mom, I wish the moms had like a touch football league. I would cover that because their quotes were unbelievable. And your mom was one of the best. I remember that, talking about it from the parents' perspective of working through the pandemic with kids who play football. But could you talk about the comparison of last year to this year? Again, it was humiliating trying to keep my distance while I was interviewing you, unlike anything I've ever done before. Kind of made me sick to my stomach. But could you talk about that?
All right, so the difference between us and this year and last year is that you can spend more time with your team. That's a big difference for us, especially because we have a Hackensack environment, just like a family environment for everybody. And having Coach Ressler new and just him being from the town makes a huge difference as well. He played for my dad actually in 2007, I believe, and it makes a difference that he was there when I was basically born, running around the field and everything. So definitely makes a difference.
I remember your dad holding you in your arms when you were a baby. You were probably like 6, 8 months old.
Yes, sir.
And that's one of the other, we pick on themes over the summer, because there's a lot of time to fill. And football is one of the things we love to cover the most. We did that story recently on coaches going back to coach at their hometowns. And I had spoken to you earlier in the season, not for this story, but what's it been like kind of getting back into the flow of things? I think you still have to commute from a ways off, right?
Yeah, no problem. But I will say this, my family still lives in the area, so I will say this, shout out mom and dad, every now and then I might need a home cooked meal, right? So they're always excited to have me back. But again, Hackensack is a family atmosphere. And you touched on with these guys, what really makes a difference is they're able to hang out with each other. They're stop talking because I served them up pretty good in bowling the other couple weeks back. We took them to Bowler City. They got to see that Coach Ressler can bowl pretty well, but we had some fun times then. But like you said, that's huge, and for me personally, coming back to my hometown, obviously really is full circle seeing, Curtis run around now, knowing how much of an impact his father had on me as a coach and educator. And then now obviously I can kind of repay that favor a little bit and hopefully send these guys off as seniors with a remarkable experience and things like that,
I do love to hear about the bowling. That's my winter beat. So, if Coach Wallace comes to recruit any of you, make me aware. Keep me in the loop, okay?
Coach Wallace is definitely Coach Wallace is definitely asking how some scores were from that bowling outing we had a couple weeks ago. She texted me asking how the kids were, if she has any potential recruits. So.
Well, thanks again for joining us, Coach Brett Ressler and the players from the Hackensack Comets. Final thoughts from you, Greg, before.
Again, you did a terrific story on new coaches. Another kid that I covered when he was back in high school. How has the experience been in your first year in charge?
You always got to take it one day at a time, right? So everything that we've done so far is just kind of going along to like the big picture, right? And obviously the big picture at Hackensack is the tradition of excellence on and off the field. We have a tremendous academic program. We have a tremendous, obviously, athletic program and facilities, So what we are trying to do each day is basically continue to build upon that and leave our mark and help these kids leave their mark for the future generations. And it's been just awesome. Each day I wake up every morning, enjoying my ride into work, enjoying the, coming down First Street and into the Hackensack East Wing parking lot and have an opportunity to coach these kids and the youth of Hackensack and the communities surrounding it.
Now, at a media day setting like this, if you're not familiar, a lot of the same questions get asked, same answers get given. One game at a time, one day at a time. Look, it becomes a cliche because it works. But so bearing that in mind, we're not going to talk about past your opening day. Tell me, what are you most looking forward to? First, who are you playing, and what are you most looking forward to kicking off the season?
We play Patterson Kennedy on September 3rd at 7 a.m. at home. That's a big game for us, especially coming off of last year, how we didn't end the way we wanted to. But now it's a new start, a fresh start for our team and our community to just get back into the environment of having a winning culture at Hackensack High School.
I like the way you gave the time and the location and everything. Tickets available.
I want to come out. That's why, yes, sir. I want a big turnout. The stands packed like they used to be when we used to win championships.
Certainly, I was there. I think one year Hackensack in the playoffs, and I know it was very early. It was 0-1 or 0-2. You ran into Passaic Tech, and well, Tech was the better team that day. But I've seen some good Hackensack teams throughout the past, and all the best to you guys trying to be one again this year. Thank you for joining us here on Varsity Aces Live. Take a look back at the stage again, and we'll be back with more interviews.
Thank you for having me.
That's where a lot of football teams, bond and become a family. Little things like shaking hands. I mean, even something as simple as getting a water break wasn't normal last year. Having your opponent changed midweek, which is something that happened to us. those things, now that hopefully that's over, makes you understand how much we took what we do for granted. Planning out your season, seeing the end run, motivating your kids for the end, which, last year we all knew that the end was just going to be the end and that's it. After the last game, you were just going to wrap it up, collect equipment and go home. And this year is a whole different feeling. We know that there's a big prize at the end if we keep improving and working hard, and that's what we're going to do.
And the final question I have now for all of the student athletes, starting first with Nick here, is what do you want this 2021 season to be in terms of your legacy as a player, as a teammate? What do you want this to be as your legacy? Starting off here with Nick with Union City.
The legacy that I want to leave here at Union City and after this season is, just being known as, one of the hardest workers and one of the toughest football players, to come out of Union City and, to be a true.
And back here for the big finale at MetLife Stadium, Varsity Aces Live, our second edition. Darren Cooper got us started off last week. Greg Tartaglia, Greg Materia taking you through Super Football Conference Media Day, and we've got a big finish set up. Now, look, I'm not going to say we saved the best for last because we've got a lot of good teams here today, and we've been very fortunate to talk to a lot of them, but we got number one in the state poll, number one in our North Jersey Big Six poll, Bergen Catholic with Coach Vito Campanile. We talked to your brother. He said either way is fine. We would like you to introduce your players, and hopefully we can say their names right, too.
Sure, great. This is LaRue Linder, our tight end defensive end, and John Fiore, outside linebacker.
So, LaRue and John, one of the things we've been talking about is, it's kind of neat this year. And last year, obviously, Media Day couldn't be in person because of COVID. Years before that, maybe they've had it at different high schools. This year, they're having it at the place where everybody wants to get to at the end of the season. So, is this any motivation for you at all? How are you feeling about Bergen Catholic going into the season?
We're all feeling good. We just work every day to come in and win. That's what we want to do. So
we're confident after not having the chance last year. We're ready to go.
All right, and again, people are giving interviews throughout the day. You kind of have to answer a lot of the questions the same way, but I do think a lot of coaches are genuinely excited about where their teams are going. Brand new season, fresh slate. Could you be the most excited coach because you have one of the most powerful teams going into the season?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm always one of the most excited coaches, I hope, when the season starts. But yeah,
that's why I forgot who I was talking to.
No, I feel really good about our team. I think they're great kids. The fact that we have a veteran presence within the room, 18 starters back, is always intriguing. And we're really excited to get out to Ohio and play one of the best that they have to offer as well.
Hey, the first game that I ever covered in my career at the Record in '89 was a Bergen Catholic basketball game. Bergen Catholic, Bergen Catholic, Bergen Catholic. How does it feel? And I want to ask the players this question also. How does it feel when you're ranked number one? And if you're not ranked number one, it may be even a bigger deal. How do you deal with that? How do you shut people like us out?
Don't shut us out. Talk to us, but you can shut us up.
How do you handle that?
Yelling a lot of practice, let them know that, really nothing matters when the ball goes in the air. Everybody was going to give us their best effort. And we talk about that all the time, not just this year. So, we know when people are lining up against us, they're going to come and try and knock us down. And really, we always want to be the hunter, not the hunted. And we're going to play that way every week. And I think we got a group of guys right now that have the right mindset, and they're hungry to get out here and get after it every day.
So, guys, how are you going to put Coach Vito's words into action?
Yeah, I feel like even all summer since our lifts in January, we've been showing up every day, we've been working, and we have, like you said, we have a great mindset, and we're ready to do this. We're ready to get after it.
We do have a really great mindset. We're ready to go out there, and it's not what we are right now. It's what we're going to be at the end of the season. So that's what we're really focused on.
Now, it's nice that you brought some linebackers, but, who else are you playing with this year? Tell us about your quarterback, maybe some of the skill guys, because I think it seems as though there are a lot of guys to keep an eye out for on the Crusaders, aren't there?
Yeah, I think our whole team is great from top to bottom. Obviously Steve going to Notre Dame, he's probably one of the best. Jaden Bellamy, Jaden Gould. So, our whole team. Ryan Butler, who had to leave, they're all just – everyone's good.
So you're not going to pronounce Steve's last name for me. Is it Angeli? Okay, thank you. Yeah, Coach, who else do we need to be keeping an eye out for this year?
Well, Well, I think we got a great group of guys. I mean, our defensive line has definitely been a strong suit. Our linebacking core, all those guys are back. Johnny himself, Malachi Mercer, Jerry Crum, and AJ Morris. I mean, all those guys have a lot of experience playing. So I feel really good about the depth that we have within the team, and I really feel great about the veteran leadership that we have and the structure and understanding how to practice. We've been able to stack a lot of great days together. Just excited to get out there on Friday and let the ball go in the air.
You may be watching some football on Saturdays too, right? How's Taiwan Malone doing? He was our big recruit last year down at Ole Miss. He's down there now?
Yeah, I just talked to him 2 days ago. He's doing really well. A little hot for camp down there, but he's doing great. He's come back 100% from the injury. He's a special kid. He's a guy that we're always rooting for.
One of the neat things about a big football school like Bergen Catholic is you can basically watch football all weekend because you got their game, and then you got college game on Saturday, and everybody likes to watch the NFL. We've had a few Bergen Catholic grads in the NFL, and I know of.
We absolutely have. I would like to get back, though. You have so many talented, skilled players. Will you be throwing the ball a little more to the tight end, for instance?
Yeah, well, we have two great ones. I mean, LaRue is he's an unbelievable student athlete. He's already committed to Johns Hopkins, right? And then Jack Camo, our other tight end, both of those guys, they're like bookend guys. So we do a lot of 12 personnel. I think anybody that knows us know that these guys are tremendous blockers. They're tremendous guys who go down the field after the ball. And then, when we get in a play action game, they're definitely a weapon.
I do want to ask you, you're one of the schools that goes out and plays teams from other parts of the country, and you have represented New Jersey very well. So while in the neighborhood, maybe everybody's trying to take you down, I think when our teams go outside of New Jersey and play other schools, it benefits us when a Bergen Catholic or another school does well. Could you talk about if you feel any type of responsibility when you go out or when you host an out-of-state school to represent New Jersey, to represent North Jersey?
Yeah, I think we all take – I just said this to Richie and Danny right up when we got off the podium. I gave all those guys a high five and a hug and, wish them the best of luck this week. I'm rooting for every one of those guys, no question. I mean, obviously, we take a lot of pride in this league. We want to represent the Super Football Conference in the best way possible. And we definitely know that when we go out there, even the shirts that we're going to wear, we have a New Jersey symbol on it with a star on where Oradell is. So, absolutely, we're definitely trying to represent this conference and represent the state when we get out there, and we want to do the best we can for everybody.
Forgive me, I haven't memorized the schedule. I know DePaul is in the United, but I don't know if you played them this year. And if so, will that be weird?
We don't play. We just had we had what you call a battle royal with them last Tuesday. But yeah, we don't play DePaul, but we would play them instead. We're playing Smyrna, Delaware, who's the top-ranked team in the state of Delaware next week at Bergen Catholic, and then we go into Del Barton and Don Bosco right after that.
Probably keep things a little calmer in the Campanile household, right?
Yeah, easier on my mom. I don't know if it's easier on us, but yeah, I mean, we've had backyard football rivalry for the last 40 years, so it's all good.
I guess they wear a Bergen Catholic hat maybe during dinner, and then when dessert comes out, you got to switch over to DePaul or something like that.
Something like that, I would assume. Yeah,
I would assume everybody just breaks out the old Paramus Catholic gear. That was where Mike coached, right?
Yeah, he sure did. Yeah,
maybe that's down in the basement somewhere, right? The
I'm
uniform.
sure it is.
All-state quarterback, another kid that I covered. Man, I'm getting old.
So am I.
Well, we thank you for joining us today, and we thank Bergen Catholic for joining us here. We've had a bunch of great teams here for Super Football Conference Media Day. Most of the conference was here, and that's over 100 teams. So thank you guys for joining us today. Good luck to Bergen Catholic the rest of the season. Coach Vito, nice to see you again as always. And Greg, we've had a pretty good day here, have we not?
All our interviews have been terrific. They've been better at answering questions that I've been at asking. I'm having so much fun doing this. I just want to bring in another 5 to 10 teams. I think it's going to be hard for me to go back in front of my laptop and actually write a story. I'm having more fun talking football than I am writing about it.
I'm going to be honest. The best way to write a story is to interview them on camera, and then we can go back and listen later. And you can go back and listen and watch, too, because we are on YouTube. Check out the Varsity Aces YouTube channel. We thank you for checking out Varsity Aces live for this week, this Wednesday, August 25th. We will be back with another episode next week. Should be back in our regular time slot at 7 p.m. That's when you can join us every week. But for today, from East Rutherford, Super Football Conference Media Day here at MetLife Stadium. I don't know why there's a temptation to call this any other building, especially when the Jets are hosting. MetLife Stadium. That's what I'm going to go with.
It's understandable. We've been around a while. We'll renew it as the under the old name. So it's understandable.
And for Greg Matura, I'm Greg Tartaglia. Thank you so much for joining us today, and join us again next week on Varsity Aces Live. Have a good day, everyone.